I already talked to him. Thank you. Roll call. I'm here. John Simonich. Josh Soulier. Here. John Bilyeu. Here. Sean Byers. Here. Angela Dennis.
Here.
Robert Falls. Margaret Stinson. Radine Strawn.
Here.
Janice Kovars. So in good shape there. Those who are non-members, if you would go around the room and introduce yourselves, please.
Yvette Rodriguez. Vicky Cervantes, City Librarian. Maria Venus, Finance. Patrice Hildreth, Deputy City Manager.
Javier Sanchez, Engineering.
Amanda Gabriel, Deputy City Clerk.
Brian Cochran, Fire Chief.
Donnie Moore, Parks and Leisure Services.
Michael Knight, Public Works.
Dominic Bartow, Assistant Police Chief. Mark Escobedo, Lieutenant.
Welcome, everyone. Glad you can make it tonight. The approval of draft minutes, first of all, there's a opportunity for oral communications. This is the opportunity for any member of the public to address the committee or anyone present. Does anyone have any comments they would like to make? Moving forward, scheduled matters, approval of the draft minutes. Has everyone read the minutes?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve,
Second.
Abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to review of the first quarter of Measure H expenditures, for purposes of lack of confusion, we'll incorporate Measure H and Measure I as they appear, so we can cover whoever is representing those issues, cover them all at one time and not have to go back and forth. Measure H, we'll start with the Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, met staff, Chief and myself met with Chairman Hall and went over Measure H and Measure I quarterly expenditure report. We also discussed several ongoing department projects that continue to enhance efficiency and effectiveness of public safety. I'd like to share some of the department's end of year statistics on behalf of the chief and some staffing and projects with the committee. End of year stats and service to our community. To date, the police department has responded to a total of 53,271 calls for service, 16,547 officer initiated calls, and officers have made over 3,800 arrests. Theft crime is down by 19%. Auto theft is down by 23%, and assault crime is down by 37%. Injury traffic collisions are also down by 4%, and there have been no fatal traffic collisions to date. This is just a snapshot that the chief wanted to share of how hard the men and women of the police department worked this year. Last week, we acquired a new police Polaris ATV. This state-of-the-art police package all-terrain vehicle was purchased with grant funding. The vehicle can be used for many purposes, from river rescues, flooding, and search and rescue efforts. It will primarily be used by personnel assigned to the Special Methods and Resources Team SMART to contact homeless in areas that a conventional vehicle cannot be used. With regard to staffing levels, we continue to grow our staffing levels with 13 positions in different stages of the hiring process. This includes police trainees, which we have 5 in the police academy, 2 lateral police officers in the hiring process, a community service officer, and animal control. We've hired 3 emergency dispatchers who are currently in training. Most of these applicants live in the city of Porterville, with most of them growing up here as well. We have also recently promoted 2 officers to the rank of police sergeant, and several of the aforementioned positions are Measure H and Measure I positions. To wrap up the police update, I'd like to thank the committee for its diligence. As we have said before, we can see the Measure H and Measure I funds hard at work in the city for the people of the city. And it is our job to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money to provide the public the best public safety. I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee might have.
Any questions?
Where do you keep your stats online?
We do have our statistics online, yes, sir.
Is it under your webpage? Is that what it is?
I'll double check for you to make sure that it's up to date.
It'd be kind of nice to know what that was, because those are pretty impressive and everything else is going, bad. So well.
I have one Measure H issue. Hopefully you can explain the expenditure for a flock safety falcon.
I sure can, sir. So flock safety are a new acquisition of technology that we've gone into in partnership with a company called Flock, who are also in conjunction with Axon. So Flock cameras are automated license plate reader cameras. And so we entered into an agreement with Flock Safety to position 6 cameras throughout the city in different locations, primarily focused on ingress and egress points. Those cameras automatically read license plates only. They don't judge anything off of a person driving. It's based off license plate only. So those cameras pick up all vehicles coming into and out of the city at those locations. As a result of just having those cameras in effect for probably about 2 months, 3 months now, we had a carjacking that occurred in the city of Porterville. Those suspects then went to a county location where they committed an attempt homicide, drive-by shooting. And through the use of Flock, in our partnership with Flock and the other cameras that are utilized throughout the state, they hit on our Flock cameras, they hit on Lindsay's Flock cameras, and then we were able to pinpoint them in the city of Gilroy and get them into custody as a result of that. Those cameras will send alerts to dispatch anytime any vehicle that is entered into the state database for a wanted vehicle. So any stolen vehicle that enters the city or exits the city, any vehicle of interest that's entered, including missing persons, have been located as a result of having those cameras. So hopefully that answers your question, sir.
How delicate are the observation capabilities of that device?
I'm not sure I understand.
It just read license plates?
Just read license plates, yes, sir. So when I say just read license plates, we can also enter in vehicle information. So if you, we're driving a blue GMC truck with a white camper shell, we can enter that information into Flock, and then any vehicle that matches those parameters, it's called a vehicle fingerprint. We'll be alerted to that anywhere within the state, any agency that's employing Flock cameras.
Who's responsible for putting that program together for our police department?
I took that project on, sir, but it's through money that you both allocate for us that allows us to be able to use technology like that.
You're to be commended for the job that you've done putting that together. He's kind of being a little bit shy about what he put into this program. Chief Bartow is the one who spearheaded putting the program together and made it as efficient and effective as it is. And I think our city owes you a bit of gratitude. Do you have anything from Measure I?
Mr. Chairman, we observed just a couple of anomalies as we do every year, or every quarter with you as we go over the expenses. When we see certain spikes in certain areas in Measure I, we saw that there were some shop services that were a little higher than the norm. Lieutenant Azevedo did research into that, and we discovered that during that time period, July of 2023, we had two police officers that were responding to an officer that was in need of help and was in an emergency fight. These units hit each other in a collision. So both of those vehicles were repaired. That was the high shot bill for July of 23. And then Lieutenant Azevedo also observed what was determined to be a human error double entry for some brakes that were repaired on another unit. And that error has been fixed and the funds are being credited back to the county.
Any other questions of the chief?
So where are the cameras located?
Tell you.
I mean, are they, okay, let me ask you this. So are they at like major intersections or?
Yes,
stuff
sir.
like that?
So if you think about the major, as I said, ingress, egress points, you think of Westwood.
Big streets, yeah.
Big streets that are coming in. And we currently have 6 assigned to our plot, for lack of a better term, and we will be looking to potentially expand on that. It's my hope that with your approval and with the funding necessary that we can, it's a force multiplier, as we call it. So it allows us to leverage the assets that we already have out. By no means are we trying to replace officers with cameras, but it definitely helps us in targeting our police efforts. Yeah, major intersections are where they are currently. And then, as I said, our network, in fact, today we received numerous share requests with agencies like Contra Costa and up and down the state as this program expands. And as I said, they're also in partnership with Axon, and Axon is our body worn cameras and our fleet cameras in our cars. So all of those cameras are integrated with license plate reading technology.
Do you cycle the locations around?
No, they're permanently fixed cameras. We were able to move them if we found that a place wasn't being efficient in its use, but so far all the locations have proved to be well placed. And then as we expand, we'll start looking. We look at we partner with Flock and we look at population and we do traffic studies and figure out where cars are coming from and going to we will find the best place for this to be.
Is this like a lease or a purchase or a rent, or how does that?
It's a lease in that we pay for the equipment and the equipment does belong to Flock. So it is a lease.
And then we store the information.
The information is it's only retained for a 30-day period.
There's not a cloud.
It is stored to a cloud, but it's deleted within 30 days. If there's no investigative hit associated to it, or we need to hold on to it, then we can pull that out. Currently, I think the state of California requires 60 days launching ahead of that with retention dates.
Any other questions from our police department? Moving on to fire, Chief Cogburn.
Yeah, no, thank you. Mr. Byers and I spoke over the youth budget.
Everything.
Yeah, I defer to him and any questions I can ask.
Yeah, when we were with budget, everything looked good. I couldn't find anything that shot out at me. Everything that I asked, he was able to provide a good answer, and we did have some talks about some of the big projects that he's got going. He's got a classroom remodel out at 72. They're also going to be putting in a new tower out there that they can actually simulate live fires. The one they currently have, they can't do that, so that's a big thing. Another thing that they were able to do was hire some new officers. So there's some things that are going on in the fire department.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Yeah, so the Measure H, Measure I budget continues to support the operations of the fire department. We are growing at a rapid pace, both in our staffing and our equipment. And to accommodate that, we're remodeling our classroom. You guys are familiar with the classroom in Station 72. We've had some meetings there. And that's really kind of a regional hub for training around the valley, right? We share that with the police department, with CHP, with other entities that need to use that classroom. We also share it with Porterville College. And it's a great opportunity for us to have that facility on our site at Station 72. The remodel will help facilitate, it's kind of the first domino of several projects to fall. The remodel will facilitate housing our crews during the remodels of our stations. We talked previously that Station 1, 2, and 3 all need varying levels of remodel to accommodate our increased staffing. When they are displaced, we're going to systematically go from station to station to station. As those crews are displaced, they will be housed in the training classroom. So we're adding showers, a full kitchen, as well as updating our audio video equipment, new paint, carpet, things of that nature. And then Sean talked about the training tower as well. This is a live fire training tower, so we can burn in it. It's a 4-story tower. We're more than happy to, once it's up and going, to do a training exercise, or at least a simulation with the TUTOC committee at that point. But it's going to be used regionally. It's going to be the largest live burn tower in our operational area, so within Tulare and Kings County. We're excited about that. In addition to that, yeah, Sean talked about our increased staffing. We're increasing our minimum daily staffing by 1 firefighter per shift as we continue to incrementally increase that every year towards our goal of our overall staffing. Those firefighters will begin orientation on December 1st, so this Friday to start orientation, and they'll begin an 8-week fire academy that we do in-house. They are required to have an academy prior to coming and joining our department. And actually, these firefighters that we're hiring are coming from neighboring agencies. So we did a lateral recruitment. This is the first lateral recruitment in the history of our department. Previously, the recruitment numbers wouldn't have been there. We had good turnout, good numbers. We're actually hiring a total of 6 firefighters, 3 new positions, and 3 that are through succession and other openings. In addition to that, like the police department, we are working on our annual report. So following the completion of the annual year, the calendar year, we'll gather all our stats and figures. I'll put together a nice report, present it to you hopefully by the next council meeting. In addition to that, we are very close to being close to producing a draft of our strategic plan, which Mr. Bilyeu is a member of our external stakeholders on that. So we'll be reviewing that with our external stakeholders and hopefully having a product to push out to the public, which will be guiding us for the next 3 to 5 years in our organization. I'm open for any questions. That's really the highlights of our department.
When you talked about the improvements that need to be made with the dorm parties and the fire stations and all that stuff, how is that going to be staged out? Is it all at one time? Do you do a little bit here and there, or how does that work?
So it'll be done one station at a time. It's going to be bid as hopefully as one large project, but then they will go from station to station doing the remodel. Station 73 has the least amount of remodel. It's a fairly new station. One of the things we're doing there is just some office configuration to help accommodate my command staff. And then we're going to be extending the app bay, the apparatus bay, to accommodate 2 apparatus in each bay. So it'll be double deep. So no one will be displaced from Station 73, but Station 71 and 72 during the remodel will be displaced. So we'll start with Station 72. Crews will move out to the training classroom. When that's done, crews will move back in. We'll begin construction at 71. Those crews will be displaced. And then once that construction is done, we'll move back in.
All right, good. Any idea how long this will take to go through?
We have hopes, and then there's the realistic time frame. You know, we're shooting for 18 months total project from the time they begin construction.
And those are paid for
Measure I.
All of it.
Correct.
Good.
Yes, very good.
Anything else for the chief?
Yeah, your staffing numbers, how close are you to reaching your target? What was your final target?
Yeah, so our goal for NFPA 1710 is it requires 17 firefighters for a single family dwelling. So we know we don't just have single family dwellings, we have multi-family dwellings, we have commercial fires. So that number varies, but the baseline is 17. So currently our minimum daily staffing, our max daily staffing is 15. So we're very close to being at that number. Now we do have a minimum daily staffing, which will increase. So 15 will be with our increase coming with the new firefighters that will be on board. Our minimum is 13. We allow a buffer of 2 over for vacations, sick leave, things of that nature. Otherwise, our overtime pay would be through the roof.
So to help offset that and accommodate that, so to answer your question, we're 2 away max daily staffing from being at the numbers we need. To help augment that staffing, we've recently entered into an automatic aid with CAL FIRE. So we receive a CAL FIRE engine from the Porterville station, which is just up the street of the PDC. They respond to the city. In turn, we respond into the county, into the state responsibility area, not county-wide, but within small pockets, really along the 65 and the SRA. It's been a great partnership. So between Tulare County Fire and CDF augmenting that staffing, it's really helping us out. So we're very close to meeting that goal for single family dwellings, and then we'll continue to work at chipping away. Looking at Station 74 down the road, increasing the staffing as the city grows. Station placement is dictated by response time. So as geographically we expand, we need to have different placements of apparatus and equipment. We've identified a spot for our future station. We're looking at property acquisition now. Hopefully in the next couple of years, that'll be a reality.
Anyone else? You have your report, will you?
I do.
Page, Measure H, page 17 of 27.
Okay.
Got it?
I do.
4th item under the heading of fire shows a $45,000 credit. That's a good thing, but it doesn't, unless that's a typo. It's kind of hard to tell what it is with all the abbreviations in front of it.
PCA service alerts. Maria, on the, maybe you can expand on that for me.
Looking for it.
It's for the employee service alerts, yeah. Which page? The employee service awards for
17 to
PCFA.
27.
It's actually, you see the second line is 45,000. It just reverses it. So
The 4th line.
there's a debit and a credit. So there's a positive 45,000. And then negative 45,000.
Under service
So it
awards.
just zeros it out.
Okay.
It's just the way our system works. So we have to special or service award.
Okay, so it just zeroed out line 2. Okay. I figured it was a good thing. I just couldn't really tell what it was.
Yeah.
Good job. Anything else from fire? And Chief, also you covered the public safety station, the things that's going on there already, so that was an item that has its own separate section. Library and literacy.
Our librarian.
Mr. Moore, I believe, is going to defer.
Yes. Good evening and thank you. As you know, I was not able to meet with Janice or Margaret. And so let's see. Annually, we do a state library report survey that's, I think we've been doing for 40 plus years. The reporting period is July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. We submitted this report in November, and I just wanted to report some of the awesome stats for our community. As you know, the library is open Monday through Sunday. For the year, we had 3,354 public service hours. And during those public service hours, we had 108,368 patrons come to visit us. So we're very happy about that. We also circulated 86,524 physical materials. And of those physical materials, 43,814 were children materials, which I think I might have mentioned to this committee a while back that I was concerned because of the pandemic and the children being pushed to be digital learners, that perhaps they wouldn't be so familiar with touching the books anymore. So that's not the case. We've circulated over 43,000 children's materials. Also, staff answered 5,720 reference questions. And the public logged in 13,280 computer sessions, as well as 19,076 Wi-Fi sessions. So that concludes my report. It's been a productive year from our opening of July 1, 2022, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have one. Why are they open on Sunday in Porterville?
Gosh, I think we've been open on Sunday for, I don't know, maybe 12 years at least. If you talk to people, in the community, you know, the library opened up in 1908, a Carnegie Library. And if you know Edie Levon, Edie remembers using the library on Sundays, here in Porterville. So again, when we were restoring library hours because they were reduced for a period of time, when we were looking at, restoring hours, we did notice that Porterville College closes their library at noon on Fridays. And so therefore, we had a lot of students coming in on Saturdays, and then they had no place to go on Sundays. So staff took the report to council for council approval. I don't recall who was on council at that time to make that approval, but we've been operating at least a decade now under those hours, I believe. So
How many visitors come on
on
Sunday?
Sundays, quite a few. We used to report those stats to council as well, because, you know, we wanted to make sure that it was a productive use of time. The library's only open for a few short hours, so from 1 to 5 on Sundays. So it gives the families an opportunity to go to church, run errands, and then come in and enjoy some activities. And so, and the resources, of course, so.
Well, I'm 77 years old, so I remember when Porterville was closed on Sunday, everything. So I just wondered why it was
That
open.
was a great
on Sunday.
question.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's beneficial to students if the academic libraries where they're attending school are closed on a weekend. They have the resource material there that will be available.
I just want to add, that Porterville High School graduate about several years ago, went to MIT, got accepted. She wrote a thank you letter to the county librarian because she's from Springville. But in her letter, she thanked the Porterville Library for being open on Saturdays and Sundays so she could do her calculus study group. So hopefully she's returned back to contribute to the community.
Yeah, and if it helps one student, I think it's worth.
Sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's worth it. Anything else? Streets and maintenance.
So I got a quick chance to talk to Mike, through the chaos of the holiday week. Nothing large popped up, though I did hear the conversation the two of you were having, about the combination, of bills or of, program funding. So if you want to go ahead and expand on that, like I said, I didn't find anything out of the ordinary, though.
No, absolutely. So, nothing to report out of Measure H, for street maintenance, Measure I. And so, did have a brief conversation, with committee members and, spoke with, committee members in this today. And the question did come up about the expenditure of hot mix. And so as of today, if you look at the summary page in the report and the agenda, it stipulates that the expenditure for Measure I is about $175,772, which is accurate. And in the detail page, one of the questions came up as the detail page reflected about a $431,000 expenditure. And to explain that, because it wasn't reflected in the summary page, so I'm sure it jumped out at a few committee members as it did. At the start of the budget year, when we were combining hot mix and cold mix overlay projects, the budget kind of got combined together. And so as a result of that, it was just an oversight during this agenda prep. And so we'll go back and as was approved in August for the operating budget for Measure I, there's a $500,000 expenditure for self-performed street payments. And so that we'll get that corrected. So it stipulates what those details are. Much the same, you know, hauling mix. We're gonna have various chemicals, those details along the lines. Two of the most recent projects is the efforts done on Newcomb and on Henderson Avenue. So the efforts on Henderson Avenue would be just west of Newcomb. And then the area on Newcomb would be in between Porter Slough and Henderson Avenue. So we touched up those areas. It kind of branches over into our other performed maintenance, but also Main Street was just resurfaced from Henderson Avenue to Westfield. So kind of smooth the bumps out there for everybody coming in and out of town. We're roughly 55% through the hot mix project for the year. Some of those areas still remaining is some portions of Henderson Avenue at Prospect, both east and west. Some areas on Olive Avenue, in between F Street and J. There's a few areas in there we're gonna be working on. Of course, it'll end up with some traffic loop repairs and of course, striping is part of that. So you'll see those details. Happy to answer any questions anybody might have in regards to self-performance.
I'll have another question in a moment, but just well, the reason this kind of got my attention, that particular budget item had a total expenditure of $431,000 and $330,000 of it was for cold mix. I mean, 3/4 of that part of the budget, that's a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was sure there was gonna be an explanation. Mr. Lawless and I discussed it also. And you said, I knew, but I wanted it to be explained to the entire committee so they would know. The other question I have is, under streets, you have a $96,250 expenditure for fire station remodel.
Under streets,
Oh, I'm sorry. I just put all the projects together,
right,
but it's actually the fire station remodel.
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we'll take a crack at it. It may not be what
That's
they
just,
want.
that's an awful lot of money for such a short street. I have no, anybody else have it?
We'll paint the walls and everything.
Yes,
I thought that did they ever do Villa Street or that's just still in the process?
I would turn to Javier on the street projects on that, but they are working on those.
Right, so far what they've done is, we've been doing investigative potholes to make sure, the design's gonna work with what's out there. A lot of times, once you go underground, it's full of surprises.
Yeah.
So they're just, been potholing key areas. We have found a few conflicts, so we're working through some of those before the contractor, fully opens up the road and starts, closing off blocks at
It's
a
an
time.
awful lot.
So, but that'll get going here shortly. With utilities being the first order of work through the winter. And so we most likely won't be paving until spring 2024.
Potholes in my neighborhood don't last. When they come out and fill them, it's like the kids come by and take all the stuff out and throw it around and it's a mess when they try to do.
and
the
you let them
pothole.
get away with it?
I've got a Ring camera, but we haven't caught them yet. They don't close enough to our house.
Any other questions? Anyone have anything else for the, actually, while we're still on streets and maintenance, there are, you already talked about the Butterfield, the Villa Street repair. What about the Butterfield corridor? Is,
Yeah, so the status of that is, what do you call, we are prepping it for CTC approval. That's the California Transportation Commission. So because of the funding, we have to get it on the state's agenda for approval. Once they authorize that, then they'll program the money so that we can begin circulating bids. There are some design elements that we're having to wrap up. But we are at 90%, 95% behind on those. So expected bid time is around spring of 2024.
any questions regarding that project? Any questions at all for Measure H or Measure I issues for anyone? Next meeting date,
Motion to approve the reports.
have a motion to approve the report.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any conversation, any comments?
I had one question too, about the library. How are they coming along with the new library? I know it's in the planning stage, but,
Technically, we're in the midst of a motion right now.
Yeah.
oh,
It's not
I'm
part of
sorry.
And that should be completed. We have another area that
Okay.
question could be.
Okay.
Any abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, scheduling for the next meeting. Did Tuesday, pardon?
I think it ends up in February.
Right, has Tuesday worked out for everyone?
It's fine.
Sure has worked out nice for me. I don't have to worry about getting out of here. How does February 27th?
But me,
That's good.
Location?
probably right here.
This is fine. I like this much better than council chambers.
Yeah, I do too.
Unless you wanted to move it around to different
I,
sides.
I think we can do that after this meeting,
Okay.
because I think this next meeting is probably gonna be a big one to wrap everything up for the year, if I'm not mistaken. 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay, any other matters? Now your question.
Oh, okay. One thing we need, lines painted on our roads.
You were asking another question about the library. Don't change the subject
Oh, I'm
until you get
sorry.
through with one.
Okay. How is it coming on the new
Well,
library?
city council, approved the hiring of the architect over the summer, Paul Halarian Architects out of Clovis. And so our team just started working with Paul about 2 weeks ago, right before, yeah, definitely before Veterans Day, probably,
Mhm.
right about there. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's moving along, I guess is a good way to, yeah, big checklist
Mhm.
to,
When did they anticipate that they might start building?
well, that, I'm not, yeah, that I'll defer to Mr. Moore.
Yeah, a little too early to tell on
Yeah.
that one,
Yeah.
so.
Typically, cycles of that can be anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Because you have to have identify a need, and then you have to identify what's needed, the funds, approve the funds, plan it, and then actually hire someone to do it. It's not gonna happen overnight, but
We'll keep the committee updated as we meet.
Okay.
striping,
Paint the lines on the road.
what
'Cause it's
color?
terrible at night. Glow in the dark would be nice.
Specific area or just in general, all the roads?
It's that time of the year, you know,
With the rain, right, I've noticed that Olive and Main Street both
Yeah.
at night, it's,
the fog line and then,
Main Street is getting ready to, because we just got it resurfaced. It will be, restriped with, reflective buttons, so.
you can say bus stops. Anything else? That being, Mr. Lawless, did you have anything?
Yeah, I apologize for being late there.
Well, that's enough, but do you have anything else? We knew you were late. You were already covered.
I
You
was
didn't
not
have to,
playing hooky.
you didn't have to show up at all.
I'd rather been here than I was. So, no, appreciate the committee's time. Hopefully, the productive expenditure.
Meeting adjourned. 6:07.
Good meeting.